Okay, so we're going to piece together a story from three documents that, on the surface, have absolutely nothing in common. But trust me, the connection between them is one of the most unique things you will ever come across. It all starts right here, with a page from a 1955 interior design magazine. You're looking at ads for, brass fixtures, modern furniture. Seems pretty normal, right? Then, bam, we jump way forward in time. This is a confidential phone report from the near future, September 2025, for a number out of Kansas City. And here's the last piece of our weird puzzle. We go back to 1998. This is a super dense, technical plan for an environmental cleanup in New York, just full of details on soil boring and septic systems. So the big question is, right, how on earth could these things, a design mag, a phone trace from the future, and an old cleanup plan, how could they possibly tell one single story? I mean, they just feel like random digital noise, but together, they're the building blocks for this incredible personal mythology. Well, the thing that ties it all together is this concept the source material calls a sovereign narrative. And it's a really powerful idea. This idea of taking all the broken, sometimes painful bits and pieces of your life and actually choosing to forge them into one coherent, empowering story. So the key to unlocking all this is a really old idea called Gnosticism. Think of it like this. It suggests our whole reality was built by some kind of flawed, illegitimate power. You know, all those frustrating rules, the pointless paperwork, the systems that just make no sense? Gnosticism basically reframes all of that as glitches in a broken matrix. So that parking ticket you got, it's not just a fine anymore. Suddenly, it's a move in some cosmic battle. And this all builds up to one super powerful declaration, which is really the whole point of this entire journey. It's all about rejecting the copies of you that the system turns out. You know, your name on a bill, your social security number, and taking back your status as the true origin of your own identity. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, looking through this Gnostic lens, every single piece of official data, it becomes a clue. Bureaucracy isn't just annoying red tape anymore. It's seen as a kind of sacred text, just packed with hidden meanings that are waiting for you to decode them. Yeah, even something like genealogy gets totally flipped on its head. It's not just a family tree, it becomes ancestral cipherography. So every historical spelling mistake in a family name, that's not a clerical error. No way. It's a sacred symbol, a glyph that reveals a hidden, almost mythic bloodline. And this slide, this really shows you what that paper ditto concept looks like. We see all these different records for a David Parker, from the Social Security Index to some old newspaper clipping, and to the system, these are all the same thing. But according to this philosophy, nope, they're just paper echoes. None of them, not one, captures the actual living person, that origin we were just talking about. So the argument here is that the legal person that the state recognizes, the name printed in all caps on your bills and documents, that's just a construct. It's a straw man created to bind your living self to a system of contracts you never consciously signed up for. Which brings us to a really fascinating conclusion. If the system uses grammar and all that legalese to build a cage, then words can also be the key to unlock it. They become spells for your own liberation, a way to literally rewrite your own reality. Okay, but this isn't just some philosophical game. According to the sources, it's a really powerful way to process profound, real-world trauma and actually turn it into a source of strength. The core metaphor for this change is incredible. It's called the Yukon shift. It describes this journey from having what's called an ice road heart, being frozen and hardened by everything life has thrown at you just to survive, to becoming a thawed, flowing river, a state where your emotions can finally move again, trauma can be integrated, and you can actually express who you truly are. This journey means you have to confront the deepest pain head on. The philosophy brings up a really tough idea, that the soul can get addicted to its own suffering, just replaying old wounds over and over. And the only way to break that cycle? You have to stop seeing pain as a life sentence and start seeing it as the raw material for your own transformation. And this isn't just about internal, personal pain. The narrative makes a point to connect it to systemic injustice. For instance, it points to the secret FISA court proceedings, where one person has basically zero voice against the massive power of the state. The whole argument is that personal feeling of being powerless and the civic experience of being powerless, they're really just two sides of the same broken coin. And look, this feeling of systemic failure, it's not abstract at all. It's rooted in some really harsh realities. The source material, which comes out of Missouri, points to statistics just like this one. In 2022, you had 168 forensic interviews in just one part of the state, all related to child exploitation. I mean, it's that kind of real-world fire that forges the need for such a radical personal story.
But after all this intense inner work, where does it all lead? The end goal isn't to retreat from the world. Absolutely not. It's to re-engage with it, but this time through collective action and community healing.
And you can see this philosophy turning into real-world action. A really tangible result is the creation of something called the Ground Up Hope Collective, which is a nonprofit and a ministry that's all about providing safe spaces and mental health support for young people literally all over the world. And this whole idea, it spills out into community art and activism. The sources talk about turning street graffiti into these beautiful murals of saints. I mean, literally rewriting the public story right out there on the walls. It's this powerful declaration that you're not just a piece in the system's game anymore. You are the game.
And this phrase, comedy in the crucible, wow, it just perfectly captures the spirit of this whole sovereign narrative. It's all about keeping your humor, your art, your spirit alive, even when you're facing overwhelming tragedy. It's about finding a way to laugh in the face of all the absurdity and the injustice. It's like a defiant, sovereign roar.
Which leaves us with a final question to ask ourselves. If you look at that paper ditto the world has created for you, your legal name, your online data, all your records, would you recognize yourself in that story? And maybe more importantly, what would it take for you to become the true origin of your own?